Let's see what happened. Good. Okay. Welcome. If you're just signing in, just let me know who you are. And while we're waiting for people to kind of collect in and make sure you can hear me and all that kind of that good stuff. Okay. Hi, Judy. How are you? Huh. Okay. Hi, Margaret. How are you? And Crystal. Okay. Let's see. Oh, you're welcome. It's my pleasure. Although I must say that I'm a little, I wouldn't say lazy about doing this, but I would say a little reluctant to kind of follow through with what I was thinking about tonight. So, as you probably heard earlier today, I'm a little caught between what I had planned to do and the meditation that I want to do just to help us to center during this global. God, I hate to name it, but it's a global crisis, and I hate to name it, but in that way, but it's what's on the front of our minds, and hopefully somehow we can transform that. I spoke this morning in the video about it a little bit, so hopefully that was of some use. Hi, Don and Linda. How are you doing? I have to look down. It's almost like I'm getting a delay reaction of the chats on my phone, and they're coming faster on my device. Oh, okay. Sharlika. Sharlika, do I do drugs? What you mean, like for my health, medicine? Okay, Peachy T. Huh, I saw your name a couple of times today. Hmm. You know, Crystal, that's the exact same thing that I was thinking. The thoughts were coming to me beforehand. So thanks for confirming that. Hi, Katie. Welcome. Yes, we are. Correct, Don. So, yes, you will be here with us in spirit, Peachy. So don't worry that you can't be here. I saw the word your peach several times today, and it may have come up in something else I was doing. But if you're at all concerned about not being able to be here, you'll be here energetically. Your higher self has already shown up, and it's a part of this. So whatever unfolds, you are also contributing what happens as with whatever the process of meditation, everything. Ah, okay. Yeah, I've I'm trying to think. Stress for me. I mean, everybody. Yeah, we all have stress. I can't say I don't have stress. Um, but like all of this, I guess I'm in New York City, and there are a lot of people around, and I think until yesterday that's why I'm wearing this color. It doesn't fit the shirt anymore, but I wore it because of this color that came to me yesterday in a meditation, and because I had a cough like weeks ago, or some kind of weird, strange thing. I went to the doctor, and it was just some kind of weird virus. And last weekend, I left my window open, and I started to. I felt cold, and then I woke up the next day, and I was kind of coughing again. Last year, this time, a couple of years ago, I think it was last year, because this was like my birthday week, and I woke up with some kind of allergies, like in my eyes, and so I've been having like sort of allergy symptoms. And then I get allergy symptoms in my breathing, or not so much the breathing, but the cough is another thing that happens for me. So I was a little worried about things, obviously, and then I realized as I'm feeling better, I probably will still cough, but I've never felt weak or anything. I think it's just thinking about everything that's going on in the world right now, and amping up our spiritual practice, whatever that is for you. And it may not be meditation, it may be painting or singing or dancing, or whatever it is for you. It may be working on a project that you're really passionate about. These are the things that we have to continue to contribute with our lives and with ourselves. Hi, Terry. Welcome. And so it's very interesting. Yes, it is the color Archangel Michael. The thing is that this color is what I received yesterday, a light blue color. Now, although some of you in the meditation may actually get other shades of blue that might be what you need. So, don't try to force this color just because I'm talking about this one. Hoopla. I think I just hit my mic. So let whatever color, let it transform. If it eventually evolves to this color, then that's fine. Or it goes even lighter, that's fine. The lighter the blue, the more that it's going back to the white, then it's going back to that ascension flame, or that higher level of purity. So the light blue is offering something. Yesterday when I did it, and I would like to see what you experience when you go through it as well. So yeah. So thanks for your concern, and please continue to offer prayers. I went yesterday to the grocery store, and everything is gone, and so part of me is just like everybody else, trying to wrap my head around what's going on and why. Because we've had years ago, I was when we had the swine flu scare, I was still teaching, and we had a Christmas performance, and half the school, I mean literally, including the parents, were just dropping like flies. And I remember I can't remember the theme of my show. I think it was not Christmas. It was either Christmas. No, I think it was Christmas. Anyway, and I actually did I had planned to do a meditation, in front of. I taught in a Catholic school. I didn't grow up Catholic, and I wasn't Catholic, a practicing Catholic ever, but I taught in Catholic school music. So, and I planned to do a meditation with Archangel Michael, which, to kind of calm everyone's fears, because it's just like everybody in the school got sick. except for me. And I was under the most amount of stress because I was putting on this production, which was like an extra thing to my regular, teaching schedule. It required me to be there later, working with parents after school to do this, and some faculty members. It just required a lot of me. And if anybody should have fallen from that experience, it should have probably been me, but I didn't. And, I guess it's because, I always created a show that had a strong purpose. So I just didn't do Christmas, or we're just going to do a spring show. I had some kind of spiritual purpose underneath, something I was trying to help nurture and guide people while they were just being entertained. But I always had a reason, and they kind of knew it, the school and parents. So this particular time, I wanted to do this angel meditation with Archangel Michael cutting chords, which is kind of weird to do in Catholic school, but I did it. I got the nerve to do it, and I am very shy about this kind of thing. Unless I'm talking to an audience I feel comfortable with doing. I do feel comfortable here, except I was a little bit nervous about doing this meditation because I know that people want to talk about things that are going on, but I hate to add to the fear of it, and so. I don't know, maybe part of me is like my mother. She was a very strong person and a very spiritual person. And I remember one time, and maybe I'm rambling, but I think there's a purpose to this. I went to school, and I grew up in Virginia, in Portsmouth, Virginia. And there was in high school, a terrible hurricane storm. I cannot remember the name of the hurricane. We had them every year. It's Virginia. I mean, I lived on, next to the ocean. I'm not right at the ocean, but, Hampton Roads is a, seaport, naval shipyard, et cetera, kind of thing. And so, but this teacher, this year, the geography teacher, Ms. Hargrove, I think it was, she went on and on and on. I mean, about the hurricane and that we had to, evacuate, and we had to da-da-da-da-da-da. And she got me like, and I was listening to her, and I've made airplanes like out of cardboard. I used to, when I was a kid, love to make those airplanes and then throw them in the air. And then in one hurricane, I was like, ooh, I'm going to go. I went out and threw because I thought that paper airplane is really going to fly. And I threw it and went right to the ground. And then I thought, so I thought, cardboard. So I went and got cardboard and made this huge airplane and flew, and of course it flew away. But that was my attitude towards the hurricanes. Maybe not smart by logic, but as a child, my spirit didn't sense any danger. But that does not mean that danger does not come to people, right? So I went home, getting back to the story, and told my mother what my teacher said. Now, this was Miss Hargrove. Was that ninth? It was maybe it was 9th or 10th grade. So I go, Terry, yeah, it's funny. So I go home. Now you have to understand, my mother was the kind of person, when she made up her mind, she prayed. My mother was really a devout Christian. She wasn't fanatical, but she definitely was never going to let anybody disrupt her morning prayer ritual, which is praying for her children and everything, and thanking God constantly for about a good hour, that and scripture. And so my mother was always the kind of person, my grandmother said she was like this as a child. So little child, baby, she would was like that. My grandmother was like my grandmother wasn't like that. My grandmother doesn't know where she got that from. Um, and so when my mother made up her mind, that was it. But she prayed about it, and that was it. You never could change her mind. And so I went and I said, Mom, you gotta get out of here. The teacher told us it's gonna be a disaster. We gotta put the tape on the windows and we gotta go. When they say evacuate, we gotta go. So I said, Mama, don't give me any trouble about this. We're going, right? She didn't say anything. And so then she told me, no, she's not going. And I just begged and I pleaded and I pleaded. I said, oh, Mama, please. And the last thing I remember is begging. I was standing up in front of her bed, begging and pleading. I woke up the next morning, flat on my face on her bed. I had passed out. It's the only time I've ever passed out from, I guess I was hysterical. I didn't think I was being hysterical. I didn't think I was acting hysterical at all. I just thought I was pleading with a stubborn woman. And the storm had passed. And everybody else left their home and nothing happened. Now, I'm not saying this is what anybody should do, because you have to have that kind of faith that my mother had, and I do believe it. No, I know her faith was real and powerful enough probably to prevent a lot of things. She stayed in the house in another hurricane that I wasn't there, and all the trees fell on everybody else's house except for hers. I'm not telling everybody to think this way, because you have to have real, and we're talking about the manifestation here. We're talking about just clear knowing, that just ignites some kind of miracle. And we do have the ability to, I think, if we were really that connected. I don't think I'm that connected as my mother was, but what is this to say? I mean, that my mother wasn't trying to control what was going on outside of her. My mother always found the control within herself. She always went very deep within herself as a prayer person. Prayer was her form of meditation. Prayer was her form of center and ground. Prayer connected her into her vortex, basically. And she really enacted from that place what one might call their spiritual power, I don't know what you call it, lucky, whatever. But so the thing is that yesterday when I did this meditation with myself, I just felt my body and my mind and my spirit just kind of come into balance, come into a place of wholeness. And so I'm hoping that this will offer you some of that connection with yourself. Like what I said earlier today, and I won't try to repeat what I say, because that's very difficult for me to do, because things come through as they need, and I really don't know how it comes out that way. But I'll probably speak a little bit more maybe after we do the meditation. But I just think that over the last years, 3 or 4 years, that we've really worked ourselves up. And we've worked ourselves up. And I'm not talking about fault here, okay? We're not looking to blame, but we just want to be aware of where we are as opposed to where we want to be. And I'm talking about where we want to be, not from here or here, but from here, where we want to really be. Because there's always in the world something going on. This dimension is full of contrast. It's full of variety, and it is always offering possibilities. I told you that in the Ascension series that we did, that this first 6 months it was going to be like an obstacle course, and the purpose was to provoke our gifts and talent, the innate ones, the ones deep within our soul, the ones that we have trouble accessing in the old paradigm because we are always were functioning under the influence of fear. We think more about surviving rather than thriving. It's even this idea with the question thing I wanted to work on tonight, which I want to give credit to the instructor at Biddy Tarot, Bridget Esselmont. Oh, God, sorry, I should know that. And, when she presented this, I was a little like, but this idea of predicting, like all of your questions that you do in your daily practice, if you draw cards or however you do it, you work with crystals and you get answers. And this idea that, will this happen? Like the predictive questions begin with will, when, is, when will I meet my lover, my soulmate? I mean, that's a big one that, when am I going to get a new job? Like, why are we thinking like that? Because it's survival mode. That's our ego. Because guess what we are forgetting when we think like that? Now, I don't want to shame any of us, all of us, for having thought that way, because we didn't know better, actually, right? Even our relationship with God is like that, We're like creator, and we will all acknowledge that whatever we call God, we all acknowledge that God is a creator. And we all acknowledge that we are extensions, or some may put in the phrase, children of God. And therefore, if we inherit our parents, our godparents, the father, mother, their attributes, their talents, their gifts, right? Their DNA, what's in their DNA is in our DNA. So why do we forget? Here it comes. Why do we forget that we're creators? I mean, it's like it's our family legacy, is it not? So does it make sense for the creator, the created of the creator, to ask what's going to happen instead of how can I? What can I do? Where do I need to focus? So these would be the words that you would use to begin to develop your idea. Okay? So, and I'm not, and I just saw somebody's comment, Johnny. I'm not talking about whether someone should get paid for what they do or not. I'm going to say straight out that it makes a huge difference in terms of the people, the exchange. I do think it's necessary because of the world that we live in. So I'm going to talk about it in that paradigm, since you brought that up, very briefly. And from my experience, because I'm having to do 20 free readings through the Biddy Tarot to get my certification. And for the first time, I was drained in doing some of the readings because, I don't know why. I think for me is that most of the clients know me through this work. And so there's already an alignment of our vibration or something when we meet. Whereas the other people we were coming from two completely different places and weren't aware of the way that I work. And so it was just sort of like the kind of questions I usually don't get from my clients. And it was like double work trying to get them to focus in a way that's more healthy. But yeah, so that's one thing, and it probably doesn't really answer what you're talking about. Although I may have misunderstood what you meant. So sorry for that if I made an assumption. But yeah, so we're creators, and we keep forgetting that. So now, when things come up, and I tell you, my mother may not have understood things the way I'm saying it, although she probably does now that she's crossed over. But I believe, and I know I could remember hearing her say, to the extent that she understood that she was a child of God, and therefore that if she asked for that protection, and she would always pray for him to show her how to. So my mother would choose, and I don't mean just going about my mom, but she would choose. She had very little, in terms of finances, and my mother still had ambition to do things, to give herself experiences and her children, things that she couldn't afford, but she did not. The money came to her. She just did her work, and because she would pray that she would never do anything unless she asked God how she would be able to do it, and she would wait. And she claims, I know I've seen her sometimes, but she claims she would go in her closet and kneel if she needed to. And I'm not saying this is going to work for everybody. Everybody finds God in their own way, and you got to really trust the way you find Him, or the way you connect with God, or whatever it is, spirit, deity, source, whatever you call it, whatever you think it is, however you connect, and you think that you connect, you have to trust that. Because once you trust that, once you find it for yourself, I can't tell you what it's like for you. I can approximate from my experience. If I share it, or my mother's experience, it may click. But you have to really trust it. And this time that we're going through right now, that obstacle course is to help us to, first of all, trust what's inside of us. Because we keep looking for what's outside of us. We keep trying to fix from the external when what we need to do is go within. And I believe that my mother believed that she was a child of God, so therefore she believed in that inner reality, not knowing that's what she called it. But see, she probably found it in her own way, through a way that we all may think is, not a way for somebody to find it, because, the way we think about, some people think about various religions and things of this sort, and even what we do, people think we're crazy. So anytime it's just something that the ego projects, that everybody who believes or thinks or does certain things, they're crazy. And so it's hard for us, to believe. It's part of our challenge. My mother was just unique, and maybe she didn't show it to me, but boy, she put on a very convincing show, if it was one. And so she found that connection. And I believe that she thought of herself as a child of God, which meant that she realized that if she asked, she could figure out how to make a way out of no way. She had little, she didn't have. So my mother went on trips. She got us the things that we needed with that minimal income, raising three boys, um, because of that kind of faith. So all of this, I guess, is to say that we have to go within and um, find that inner strength. Okay. And I keep seeing things about drugs. I'm not able to read it, but let's see. Daniel says, some people say I'm spreading fear, but I'm spreading good fear. Please stock up on supplies. Okay. So anyway, so it's just something for us to think about. When our fear, because right now with this they don't have the solutions, right? And so what I was saying is that over the year we've been in this survival, and then when you put pressure on that kind of mindset, and I mean by what's been going on politically, economically, I mean the whole gamut, all right? So we were already under pressure, the pressure of our ego, because we need things to survive. Thriving, your soul is looking for purpose, for meaning, for a way to serve, a way to contribute. Surviving isn't looking for those things. The survival mode, the ego isn't looking for those things. It's trying to find things to make it feel better. So then we find, drugs or sex or whatever it is that takes us off course. We even get caught up in thinking about the survival will be like, oh, somebody's taking what I have, So we see this obsession with blaming groups of people for why people can't feel safe and secure in the world. Whereas the thriver mentality, love, would be thinking about how to make everything better for everyone, how to create peace, how to make what we have work for everyone. These are just examples, coming to me, and it's the first time I'm really thinking about this idea between the survivor and the thriver, if that's a word, but we'll use it for this situation. So, and so what we need to do is, this situation with the coronavirus is like many other things. And I have my own personal experience with health issues and life-threatening, not only just life-threatening, but the, even forget the word, is gone from my consciousness now. But, a terminal illness, and where there was no hope. And what I learned is, by focusing on, what I did was I turned to focus on, I had to first get my connection with God. There was so many things I was taught that had fear in it. God is love, but, and so I got rid of that, and I just thought of God is love, period, the end. And I thought of it like a mathematical equation. God equals love, and there are no buts. And that is the framework, became the cornerstone of my spirituality and my journey to healing and loving myself, or allowing myself to be loved. And eventually, something was created that allowed that to no longer be a concern. But in the beginning, I had no idea that that could be something available. So, but the thing was, is that when I started to focus on living, meaning living with a purpose, finding out, finding my true self, finding that inner relationship, then the world changed to respond to my prayer. You know, we're all connected to oneness. You know, just think of the internet. Like, we're all connected through the internet. We're all connected spiritually in the same way. So when one of us devotes ourselves to enlightenment and spirituality on a particular aspect or challenge in the world, we elevate that for everyone else. Okay? We elevate that for everyone else. And that's how powerful we are. But we don't see it because it's not always, we're offering things that we don't see directly happening for us until further down the road. And, you know, I really believe that the time I spent focusing on my inner life brought me to this work, and then brought a viable solution to that terminal illness. You know, the scientists, they came up with it, but we're all connected, if you understand what I'm saying. And so in the same way, we're still all connected. And when we go within the inner planes of our spiritual essence and the technology of our souls collectively is working on solutions, not just for something like this, but for our ultimate healing and release from all dis-ease, which is the creation behind disease, right? So this is something that you have to hold within your heart. And you can, you know, again, the obstacle course is to bring out. And I've gone through this kind of obstacle course, and I know what it has brought out in me and what it still does bring out for me. And the solutions that will come. And excuse me, you know, I didn't give up. And one of the things you're going to see is that, but I didn't know I was not giving up. I was just following my heart, you know. We can say it like that, like I didn't give up, but we don't know we're not giving up. We just keep doing what our heart tells us. That's what you all can do at this time. But you're not doing what your heart is trying to tell you when you're afraid, and allow it to overcome. And we are so into the habit of thinking, oh, I can fix this. I know how to, I gotta champion this thing. But we have to come from the place where our soul inspires the solution. You know, you don't have to work at it, but you're going to participate. Don't worry about that, because the universe goes, aha, it inspires you. That's how it speaks to you and works through you, is that it inspires you. And so when you go within, and whatever way that you do that, and you wait, so it teaches us patience, compassion. And when you do that, it'll come to you the way to serve, the way to change the world in the way that has the least amount of resistance to it, in the way that you have the most influence and support to get it done. It's really important to understand the power of this inner layer of our souls. Okay, so let me just take a sip of water. All right, and so let's take this time to meditate, and let me just see if anybody's had any questions so far. Let's see. So let me just pull it this way so like you're not looking at the side of me all the time. Christina says, I'm always calming everyone else down, but I'm so scared, live alone, and got abandoned by my now ex who promised me forever a week ago. So scared. Yeah, Christina, really sorry to hear that that happened to you, and also that you feel alone. It's all kinds of things are happening right now, and it would be nice if people could always keep their promises and things like that. But we have to, again, because I really want to focus on this whole idea of what this time, and not just this time because this is happening, but the whole ascension process is, it's acting as a clearing. So things are changing, and they are changing as a part of helping us to evolve and move into those next stages of opportunity and fulfillment. And so we're seeing a lot of change. I mean, we've seen the change in our world in the last 4 years. And I was talking about it earlier, like we've all allowed ourselves to really get in just in a bunch, just about what goes on and what this person does all the time. And that person is actually performing his role because again, we're not separated. We're all one. And the contrast, you may not like it, but it's serving a purpose of helping us to be aware what we need to face, what we need to clean up within ourselves. And you may say to yourself, well, I'm not that. I don't act like that. But the fear is what we all have accepted collectively. It doesn't matter how the fear is displayed, like what we've seen in politics or what we've seen in our relationships and some of the bigger issues, social issues that have been coming out. It doesn't matter that that hasn't happened to you or you haven't done that. But what is the focus is that we all, underneath all of that, the causes behind those things is fear or a sense of lack. And lack, I believe lack is the foundation under fear. And it's what causes us to feel lonely, desperate, or there's so many things, greed. You just could go on and on and on. It's all because of that lack. And what is that lack about? That you believe you're disconnected, that you're not plugged into the universe at all times, that you are not one with the Creator at all times, that you I lack health, I lack money, I lack, peace, I lack all of that. Telling ourselves that, giving over to this ego fear paradigm is what is created this mass hysteria of the ego paradigm where it looks like our world has gone completely dysfunctional. But you know what? Dysfunctional, but the function is still in there. You can remove the prefix and function is still there, meaning there is a function to it. It's serving a purpose. It's helping us to all, hi Rosalinda, to wake up, to depend on our soul, our inner being, to depend on not just our soul, but the collective, depend on God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, to tune in to that energy, that frequency, and to start finding unconditional love. Okay? So that's really important. Okay, let's see. All right, so let's take a deep breath. And just try to relax your body. And the lungs have to do with acceptance. So issues around acceptance. And we are all really going through a rapid amount of change. Remember, we're going through a double ascension. We're going from 3-dimension and from 2012 to 2032. That's a lot, a double ascension, and which is going to call for a lot of radical change, and a lot of radical actions are going to unfold as we're seeing. The planet is a living life force like we are, all a part of oneness, a more evolved state of ourselves, the planet, Gaia, but is still a part of us. And so we're all going through this ascension process double. So that's going to create a lot of change. So no one on this planet accepts change easily. And so this coronavirus, that it's creates a sort of pneumonia or basically symptoms with the lungs, a clogging of the lungs, means that we're experiencing some clogging in the shifts that the universe is offering to us as gifts right now. We're not allowing breath. We're not allowing inhale, inspiration. We're not allowing enough. We're not listening. I was like, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be that voice that speaks about this. I resisted it. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm always like that. Because there's certain things I don't want to talk about because I don't feel like I'm an expert about it. And so I don't want to say anything. Leave me alone. And so we don't accept. And this is something we have to get used to. So right now, don't worry about the virus per se. Don't worry about anything, but focus on breathing as a way of increasing your ability for acceptance. And as I was taking that breath with you, Jesus was coming forward. And I'm seeing the word call, so that some of us are being called right now. So some of this, for some of us, has to do with we're receiving calls to be, right? To serve. And we're not ready. We're like, I'm not ready. Pick on somebody else. It's like we're in school, in class, and we're like, no, pick them, please. Pick them, not me, please, not me. And of course, he would come through for this because he knew his calling, and it wasn't an easy one. And at least, for the most part, I don't think that that's the call that we're being asked, that kind of a sacrifice. But if anybody can help us to accept our purpose right now and our position and our role in the world, it would be Jesus as an ascended master understanding this. So as you breathe, just allow yourself to not try to ask, what's my call? Don't do that. Don't try to figure out the future. Because when you do that, you displace yourself from the present where the answer resides. Hmm? You know that you're being called. And so your only real work to do, ever really to do, is to be able to say, I am willing, and have it truly be sincere. To have it be that you are at peace with what it is, without even knowing what it is. Because when you don't need to know, the answers most definitely will come faster than you would like. And so you're fishing for answers about the future. It's just a way of procrastinating and holding off the opportunity. Of course, you may not see it that way. You may see it more as of a burden. But you got to remember, your soul knows who you are, and your soul knows, and you are connected to your soul, and you know you're a creator. You know you can create, manifest any reality within the support of God's love. Anything is possible. And so you ask, not because you don't know. Underneath, you ask because you're afraid to know. Because if you just sat still, then you know it would come. And sitting still doesn't mean sitting still like I'm doing right now and you and I are doing. But sitting still means not to worry, not to give it another thought until it's ready to come. And they keep showing me like a cup, like a very low, almost like a vase, but a cup, or something like this. Something, it looks like a cup sitting in something that has four pillars around it. And it's like you are this, it's like a fountain. And you are that fountain, like, what we normally see in the Ace of Cups. You are that spiritual fountain, the spiritual food. You are one with it. And so I feel a lot of tension in the chest, a lot of like tightness in the chest, actually. And that means there's something with our heart chakra. And, it's interesting that the lungs are in that area of our heart chakra. So we are tensing up, because we all know on that subconscious level that we're about that we're going to have to give up a lot, because that's what change is. This is a big change, which means we're going to be leaving a lot behind. And our poor ego realizes that the fear that it perpetuates is one of those things, that survival reflex is what we're going to have to give up. And we're in that stage now. We're feeling the pains of it. And so I'm going to ask you to see within the center of your heart this light blue flame. And from within your heart, this light blue flame is given to you as a gift from the Creator to help calm you, is the word they're writing, during times of calamity, is the word I'm seeing. And I'm starting to feel relaxation in the tension of the chest area. And so as you focus on this light, allow it to expand. Allow this light blue flame to expand all around you. And feel your spirit just drop sort of as this anchoring, grounding. Feel this and see it just blazing all around you. This very light blue with pale energy, pale blue light energy. In some spots, it may be lighter and darker in terms of this light blue. And allow it now, breathe it in. Breathe it wherever you feel stressed. And this is not so much in your physical body, but it's in your mental body. And you're feeling the effects in physical locations. But don't focus on your physical body. Focus on the area around your physical body, but intending it to be in the mental body. You know, your physical body is within your emotional, mental, and spiritual body, within your soul. So and then drink this beautiful flame into the cells of your body. And every time you do this, it feels as though things expand. So the cells are expanding. There's so much tension that we're all holding. And everything is tightening, the cells. You see, this is tension as a basic form of disease is not what our bodies are meant to hold. And we focus on things that create tension in muscles, the cells. You know, your aura, your chakras. When you do this, everything closes up, clams up, and this pale blue light. What the one thing I'm getting is that what it does, like the blue sky, which we think of as spacious, it creates this energy of space. It creates room within every area that you're going to breathe this into. And they just wrote the word tower. So we're going through like a tower moment. But this means that all the facades, all the mask of the ego is been dismantled. And just anchor this beautiful blue, light blue flame into the core of your cells. And now breathe it into your brain. and down your spine. And feeling a lot of pressure on the back, behind the heart chakra as well. In the and breathe it now into the muscles of your body, especially the the muscles in between the ribs, the rib cage. And breathe it into your nervous system. And into your lymphatic system. You may not know where all those things are, but you don't have to. Just intention, it will happen. And breathe it into your glands. And breathe it now into your immune system. Breathe it into your joints and your skeletal system, your tendons, and the fascia, your lungs, your heart, your kidneys and your liver, your digestive system. Now breathe it in to your third eye. Allowing that, your intuition, to come into alignment with your higher self. And now breathe it through and into your chakras, starting with your Earth Star Chakra. And we're going to call upon Archangel Sandalphon to touch and activate this Earth Star Chakra for you. It's sort of like the color of the hematite, or it looks like a hematite. And these are your fifth dimensional chakras. So we're asking him to ignite your fifth dimensional chakra for you. And to also infuse it with this pale blue light. And then your Archangel Gabriel to touch and activate your base chakra, which is a platinum color. And to infuse this also with this pale blue light. And to also intention to align everyone with their fifth dimension fifth dimensional chakras and the fifth dimensional frequencies of oneness. And then we're asking Archangel Gabriel to touch and activate your sacral chakra, which is pink, pale pink, and to infuse it with this light blue light. And I'm just feeling like a lot of stiffness. And so one of the things that you may want to do as well is to some kind of movement and exercise. Even right now, you can just move your body, but afterwards, and as a part of your daily practice, incorporate some kind of yoga or some kind of movement that'll help loosen up your energy so that you're acting the tension, the clamming up and clenching of the muscles and things of this nature. Because in order to really be healthy, we have to have a flow of energy, right? Our chi or prana, whatever you call it, has to flow. And now we ask Archangel Gabriel to touch and light up our navel chakra, which is an orange globe, and to infuse it with this light blue or pale blue light, however you're seeing it and what you're being called to work with for now. And then we call upon Archangel Uriel to touch and set ablaze our solar plexus chakra for alignment with oneness and the fifth dimensional frequencies, and to infuse it with this blue light that you are perceiving and working with. And I'm just seeing the word angel, so your guardian angel or an angel that you're working with is with you and helping you with the challenges. And they're writing the word lavender, that you may want to use lavender for the solar plexus chakra work. We tend to brace ourselves instead of relaxing and trusting. And call upon Archangel Chamuel to touch and set ablaze your heart chakra, which is a pale pink, the white around the edges, and to line it with the fifth dimensional frequencies, and to infuse it as well with this light blue color. And let's continue to our throat chakra with Archangel Michael. We're asking him to touch and set ablaze our throat chakra, to infuse it with the pale blue light. And the throat chakra is already a light blue color. And now our third eye chakra, which is like a crystal ball with some tinges of green, very pale. And we call upon Archangel Raphael for this, to activate this chakra in the fifth dimension and to infuse it with this pale blue light. Our crown chakra, we call upon Archangel Jophiel to activate our crown chakra. And to infuse it with the pale blue light as well. And Lakshmi is coming forward as well to bless our minds with ideas of prosperity. And abundance. So you may want to work with her to help you, along with Archangel Jophiel, who helps you to beautify your mind, but to also work with Lakshmi to help you to have or perceive experiences of blessing and prosperity, knowing that everything is going to turn out all right. And we call upon Archangel Christiel to touch and light up our causal chakra, which looks like a glowing moon, which is sort of just to the back of the head. It's the only one that's like that. And we ask that the unicorns as well will infuse this chakra, touch it and activate it and infuse it with the pale blue light. And they're showing me a symbol, a phallic symbol, which has for me always means something to do with manifestation. And so it's as if with this chakra, this connecting with that, our intuition in some way, to begin to get those messages that will help us to manifest our dreams, our reality, our health. Be interesting to see how that unfolds. And now above the crown chakra, directly above, but also above the causal chakra, which is not in that alignment, we call upon Archangel Zachiel and Mariel to touch and activate our soul star chakra, which holds all of your soul's wisdom, and to activate this with this pale blue light as well. And Archangel Metatron for our stellar gateway chakra, which is a golden orange. And we ask him to activate it for you in the fifth dimensional frequency and to infuse it as well with this pale blue light. And your soul star chakra is a magenta. And now let's send this light blue flame into the core of the earth. And infuse the planet with this flame. all the animals who are feeling this, all this fear. Of course, they have more acceptance than we do, but they do take on for us to help alleviate. So we want to send to them all of the animals, all the creatures, insects, no one excluded, and the plant life, and to all the different continents and the people. Let's make this available to everyone, for we give what we wish to have. Let's send this to especially those who have the virus, the coronavirus, just with intention, especially those countries, China, South Korea, Italy, the US, the UK, let's send it to our world leaders, every last one of them, all branches of government. We're not just sending this light as a healing for disease, but for the dis-ease that has gotten us all so tangled up with such anxiety that we can't relax, that we can't breathe. And now just see our entire earth in your mind's eye, just blazing bright with this pale blue flame. Imagine that you were light years away, but you could see it from a distance. And just allow it to blaze intensely to help us to purge and to find clarity, to face our truth. Because this light flame is about communication, sort of an air elemental flame, so that we're praying for and intending clearer communication, so that we don't have to become afraid because we lack information and understanding and compassion. And communication, that we trust our vibrational understanding of ourselves first as a soul, and our vibrational relationship with each other as brothers and sisters of the entire planet, the animals, the plants, we're all children of the One, and therefore we are relatives. And we need to begin to understand through the vibrational communication, the vibes that we feel and sense, they are real and they are more true a form of communication than our words. So let's pay attention to what we understand without having to be told. And let's be less afraid of being called to serve. Let's accept our call. And let's stop judging, or let's use less judgment about it. And let's also set an intention to allow ourselves to see our truth and to see the truth in others. Let's just not pay attention to how people behave, because people say things and do things out of fear. Even people who we may think are malicious, have an intent of malice, but where does that come from? Still the same place, fear. There's a lack of trust, a lack of communication that we've built because of our ego, who is constantly criticizing and pointing out things, pointing out flaws in others, that we activate those flaws within them. We activate insecurities within them that cause them to take their flaws and use it against us, or use it against themselves and others. The very people right now that we criticize are just afraid. Isn't that what bullies really are? People who don't think that someone loves them. And that's a miscommunication. These kinds of miscommunications, as well as the ones you share with yourself, like you're not good enough. See, all of this miscommunication is what we need to clear up, at least by starting by being aware. All of this causes us to be sick, causes us to create these things that causes us to then have to causes us to have to reevaluate. And that means that we wouldn't have taken that time. So that means we need to take more time to allow to be. This is what's out of balance. And therefore, if we had this balance, then if we weren't thinking, I gotta get this done, 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 and more, I get to do this, and why? And then sometimes it's just, I need to, and I'm feeling led to just be still and just go with the flow and move within the flow of things. To trust the sense of easement It's a necessary thing in order for us to create less stress and anxiety and to have better communication with ourselves and with the world around us. Our life requires it. This is going to be a leap of faith for us. I keep writing the word capture. Interesting. So when you just feel ready, open your eyes and you feel that you're relaxed in your body. I felt a lot of the tension just really begin to dissipate as we went along. So I'm just trying to look at some of the comments here. Sure. Judy, if you didn't see the color, what did you feel or sense that you think that you got? Hi, Lula, Maria. Okay. Yep. Were you intending? You probably were intending the color, but you just didn't see it, and that's okay. It's also okay to imagine it because it works. Oh, your stiffness went away. Yeah, because I'm feeling better. And I think some of you may have been picking up on, because when I step into this energy with you, now we're all one collectively. So the stress that you may have been feeling from me, not only probably mine, but the collective that was picking up as I've answered this call to be present here. And just give a few more minutes if anybody else would like to share. You can do this flame with your eyes open. I find that imagining with your eyes open is really powerful because, it's so hard for us. Oh, Kim, I saw Jesus. Oh, let me see. We are safe, and thank you. Wonderful, Kim. I find that one of the problems, sometimes Abraham will say that the problem that people have is that they can't get over what they're seeing. Like you keep, you're looking for one thing, you're praying for one thing, but you keep looking at where you are and you see something completely different. And imagining this flame with your eyes open, and you're in your imagination, but your eyes are looking at where you are. It's like when you take a photo and you just layer two things, and it changes. For me, it's even more potent that way, because I'm consciously holding the space for this space, my physical environment. And I can feel things relax. So just, use this as often as you need. The point is that you really do need to really connect more in with the practices that you use that help you to connect in with your spirit, your inner life. So if it's a crystal, I haven't thought of this, but I know it keeps coming to me. To meditate. This is a Lemurian sea crystal, and like if the thought is that you may use just as a daily, like I pull cards. So let's just say one day I may just decide, or a week, to pull a crystal, that I want to work with for that day and get messages from it, but I meditate with it. If that is something that you do, let's say as a practice, but you haven't been going deep enough, or you feel like, oh, I don't have time, this is stuff you need to slow down to engage so that you open up the channels of communication. Because when you try to connect with Spirit, God, you open up. You don't shut down. How can we choose love over fear more consciously without sort of micromanaging the fear? So, yeah. So first of all, I think you have to, again, I think it's about being aware. Being aware with your inner being of the emotions. See, our first thing is to want to get rid of something. Oh, I'm feeling pain. Oh, I'm feeling this. Oh, this is going wrong. And you want to go charging at it. Poor little thing. And yes, Bridget, yep. And so the idea is just to be aware that this is a survival thought, or this is a thriving thought, that, oh, I have tension. And instead of saying, I need to get rid of it, think about that tension is an indicator of somewhere in the physical body is like the touch screen for the spiritual applications, right? The spiritual apps of in the emotional, mental, spiritual realm. And so, if you got a pain here, then maybe it could be emotional, psychological, mental, spiritual, and that you need to stop and listen to what that is. Do you know what I mean? So don't just say everything, nothing is bad. Nothing is imperfect. It's perfect the way it's happening because it will lead you to what is true perfection. It's leading you to what true perfection is what that is your divine perfection. And you're not feeling we're scared because there's this health scare. Then what is that health scare? It's attacking the lungs. What is that about? Like we're talking about acceptance. Now it's about the spiritual component. And on which level are you experiencing that? On the emotional, the mental? Where are you struggling with that? Through fear? And that's the blessing that this is then affording us, is the opportunity to align in our ascension process. So let's not be afraid of anything, because everything is pointing us towards divine perfection. Everything is an instrument of peace. Just like specific world leaders that you probably don't like for good reasons from our human perspective. But that person and those people are actually helping us because they're bringing things to the surface. They're making us aware. And do you not think that that's their role? You're not probably going to think I'm crazy, but everybody's fulfilling a divine role. That whole thing that we get stuck when we start, see, duality is beautiful because God created so they could give us choice and we could exercise free will and create. But the thing that will never change because of this duality is oneness. So oneness is still the being or intelligence behind this duality. And so all of us are acting through this oneness. And we just have to play within this experience, a three-dimensional experience, or this, we have to play all the roles in order for there to be choices for us to choose from. Without it, how like again, without hot and cold, how would you know what hot was? You couldn't evaluate it because they're not both. So yeah. So we need we need this. When we have the duality, then we can, like we learn something. Like, so for instance, when somebody does something you don't like, it causes you to decide what you do want and what you do care about, and it helps you to see those possibilities. All right. I think what we have in the chat room are some people who don't belong here. So I'm sorry if that's been a bit disturbing to some of you. But this is a part of what's going on in our world today. So, instead of people kind of going where they feel that there is instead of going where they feel they would be in harmony and alignment, they go where they aren't in harmony and alignment. So it's this kind of thing, and what causes someone to do that is, insecurity or fear. But all again, we have to accept that all of it helps in some way. We cannot come into alignment or find this path of peace, which I do not believe is going to be that the contrast will stop. What I keep saying over and over again is that the age of peace that people talk about that is to come is that through our fifth dimensional perspective, we will have a compassionate understanding, and it will help us. We will be able to use it to make clearer choices about where we want to stand. And I believe that we'll be able to stand more clearly on the path of truth, with more confidence and more awareness. Okay, so if there's no more questions, I don't think I see any. I will we will bring this to a close, and I will delve into this a little bit more with the question in another chat coming up in a week or two, okay? So everyone, God bless you and have a good evening. Bye-bye, Bridget, thank you. Blessings to you, Judy. Blessings to you, Terry, Christina, Lula Maria, Kim. Blessings to all of you. All right, good night, everybody.